Hi everybody and welcome to Ishara's Indian Delights again. Thank you for liking, subscribing and sharing to our channel, and I hope you guys are well. Today we're going to be doing a lovely easy scone recipe, and I hope you guys enjoy this recipe. Please don't think it's hard and you can't do it. Try it and I'm sure you're going to enjoy it. Okay, so the first thing we would need to do is get some butter in a bowl, and the butter needs to be nice and cold so that your scones will come out nice and fluffy with a crispy outside. Now, the ingredients and the method for the recipe will be in the description box below, so you guys can have a look and try the recipe out. The first thing we would need is our flour and our butter. We're going to put our flour into the butter. Now you can also use margarine if you'd like. I've got 100 mils of butter here, and I've got 2 cups of flour, and we're going to mix this or make it into fine breadcrumbs. Now here in Johannesburg is very cold today, so our butter doesn't seem to be melting as fast as it does on a hot day. So you got to be fast, and we've got to rub this butter in with the flour so that we get fine breadcrumbs. You can use both your hands for this, and as you rubbing the butter into the flour, you must pick it up so that you can trap some air into it and it becomes light and fluffy. Now let me get in there with both my hands so it makes it a bit easier. So if you look, you'll see nice fine breadcrumb kind of look on this, and you can also see the color of the butter that changed the flour. Okay, I think this is the perfect consistency, and the next thing we're going to do is add in our baking powder, and we're going to be using 1 tablespoon plus a teaspoon of baking powder. Now don't skip that part because it's really important to get a nice fluffy scone. And then I've got a 1/4 teaspoon of salt. Now I've cut down on the salt because the butter has got salt in it. And then I've got 1.5 tablespoons of sugar, and we're going to give this a good mix. And we lift our flour as we mix. Now we're going to make a well in the middle, and we got 2 eggs and a teaspoon of vanilla essence. You can use vanilla extract or whatever you have. And we're going to put this in the middle. We're also going to be using some milk, and we're just going to be using about a 1/4 cup of milk for now, and we're going to be mixing our dough. And if you see your dough is a bit dry, you can add a bit more milk. Now we don't want to over mix the dough, So I think we're going to put another 1/4 cup of milk in here. So altogether, you should have a 1/2 cup of milk. You can use cream if you like. I'm going to give this a good mix. And it might look like a sticky dough, but this is what we're looking for because we're going to be rolling it out onto a floured surface. Now you'll know when your dough comes together, and please don't over mix because your scones will become hard and not enjoyable. Okay, so I think that's good enough. Now we're going to divide our dough into half because we're going to be using fruit in 1/2, and in the other half we're going to have it plain because my son doesn't like fruit in his scones. So we're going to just give him some plain scones today. Okay, when we come back, I'll show you how to roll it out. Alright, so now I've floured my board, and I'm going to sprinkle a bit of flour on top of the dough, and we're going to be very gentle with this. And you can see it doesn't stick. I'm not going to overwork this. So once we got it into a little ball, we're going to put this into the fridge for at least 15 minutes until it gets. Okay, so now that we've transferred our second part of the dough onto the floured surface, we're just going to put a bit of flour on top there and get it together. And then we're going to put in our dried fruit. And we're going to give it a good mix. You don't want to overwork the dough. As I said, your scone will become nice, or it wouldn't be nice. Okay, so now we're going to grab the dough. So now our second part of the dough is done, and we're going to wrap it, put it in the fridge for about 15 minutes, and then we'll come back and show you how to roll it out and what it comes out like. Alright, so for our next step, you would need a baking sheet or a baking tray, which you're going to put your scones on to bake. Then we've got 1 egg that we've whisked, and we're going to use that for brushing. We've got our dough that's ready. We've got our pastry brush to brush the egg on, and we've got a cutter here as well. So you can choose the thickness or how big the cut you want. Okay, so the first thing we're going to be doing is flouring our surface again. And we're going to be putting our dough, and we're going to start with our fruit scone dough first. And we're just going to dust with a bit of flour. And you need a rolling pin for this. So we're just going to roll lightly. And with the quantity of dough that I made, I normally make about 15 scones. So we're going to start cutting now. And then we're going to place. So we've done 4 already. And now we're just going to roll out our other ones. We're going to bring the dough back together, not wasting anything. And we're going to place them onto the baking tray. Now you got to work really fast with it because you don't want the butter to melt. And you don't want to handle the dough too much. So when it comes to this quantity, you would just pat it down with your hands. Okay, and one more. Okay, so the raisin ones are done, or the fruit ones are done. We're going to come back and show you the plain scones. Alright, so now this is the plain ones. We're just going to give it a light roll. And you can see they come out really neatly. And then you just place them onto the baking sheet. You can get 2 more out of this. And then we roll it out again. Okay, so we'll need another baking sheet for this because the quantity is more. So you can see as it is, we've got 3, 6, 9, 12. And we can make another 4 out of this. Okay, so now all our scones are ready and we're going to egg wash. Like I said, you gotta be a bit fast doing the scones. Alright, so I've preheated my oven to 150 degrees Celsius because I've got the convection and the fan. Depends on your oven temperature and how you'd bake it. We're going to put this into the oven now and we're going to bake this for about 25 minutes and I'll come back and show you how it turns out. So guys, these are the scones that we've made and it came out absolutely lovely and I'm sure it's going to taste divine as well. I'm going to be enjoying this with a lovely glass of chai tea and we can put in some butter or fresh cream or even jam inside the scone to enjoy it. Now this is what it looks like. It's cooked fully inside and it's nice and soft and spongy. So guys, I hope you enjoyed this recipe. I'm going to enjoy my scone now. So please like, subscribe and share to our channel. And don't forget the recipe will be in the description box below.